Holy witches, warlocks, and demons. I got 10 questions for you on the hit TV show Charmed for Dan Papalo's wife. This is Trivia with Buds. What it be, and welcome to another episode of the Trivia with Me podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Buds. I'm so glad you found this show. Maybe you listen to it every day. Maybe you binge it on a nice weekend or a road trip or some sort of vacation that you've started at the start of summer right here, which is very cool. Or maybe you're brand new. Maybe you've never listened to it. Maybe you're catching up on an old episode of Pod Quiz with my friend James in the UK, and you heard my guest round on the 90s about 3 weeks ago, and you're like, oh, I'll give this guy a listen. What's this about? I thought I listened to all the trivia podcasts. Well, now you have, because this is one of the only shows that comes out every single day. Now, sometimes I get a little overbooked and I might miss a day, but then the next day I put out 2 episodes. And this is one of those days. So yesterday, you could have listened to the episode on Confidence Round, 10 totally random questions. And also today, you'll be able to hear this episode on Charmed for my friend Dan Papalo. Dan is a Patreon subscriber, and he donates $5 or more on patreon.com/triviawithbuds, which is linked in the show notes and the full episode descriptions of every episode. If you click on that, you go over there, you join for $5 or more, you get to pick a topic that I will get to at some point. And these topics will finally close out the month of March. So I'm a few months behind, but there's only a few from each month that I've missed, and I'm kind of going back and covering my ground. Still have to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for my friend Jen Wojnar, but today we're doing Charmed, which is the original series, not the newer one, and this is from Dan Papalo in Australia, who said, "This is for my wife, I promise," smiley face on our Patreon subscriber topics Google spreadsheet. And Dan, you don't have to blame this on your wife. I know you love witches. I've looked at your Facebook. You're very witchy. You do a lot of seances. You have a few Ouija board selfies. I know what you're up to. So we're going to jump into these questions. I've never seen the show. It's one of those shows that whenever I flip to it, back when you used to flip to channels, which you don't really do anymore if you don't have cable, I would see the girls. They were always kind of standing around a table, I feel like. They're all kind of just like talking around a kitchen. Is that what the show's about? Just witches and kitchens? Witches and kitchens. That sounds like a fun reality show. Who wants to be on my reality competition, Witches and Kitchens? It's a Wiccan cook-off. Who would watch that? I think I would, just on the title alone. I'm going to call my friends at the Great British Baking Show, get Mary Berry involved. She's probably a witch, and make that thing happen. But this episode is going to be coming at you. And as always, it's sponsored by my friends at Funky Monkey. Wait for the end of the episode for the Funky Monkey question of the day. You have a chance to win some stuff that I mail you in the snail mail. And who doesn't like getting mail? It's a big part of being a Patreon subscriber and just a listener of this show. Sometimes I send you free stuff, which is always cool. So we're going to jump into this question. I don't have too many announcements. We're going to jump into these questions from the series Charmed. There's 10 of them. And if you love specific TV show episodes, we'll be recording 2 more later this week on Orange is the New Black. Wow, couldn't say that 3 times. And The Good Place, which I just announced that it's going to end after its 4th season. And I think Orange is going to end after the 7th or 8th season. I forget how many they're up to. But yes, if you like TV shows, Good Place, Orange is the New Black, and Charmed are all going on this week. And those are all from Patreon subscribers like Dan Papalo, and who else we got here? Jim Fields, Orange is the New Black, and Lauren Ward for The Good Place. So enjoy these episodes, starting with this one, Charmed, for Dan and his wife. Here we go. It's 10 questions on Charmed. Here we go. Question number 1. What actress plays Phoebe Halliwell? Question number 1. What actress plays Phoebe Halliwell? Number 1. Question number 2. For its first 3 seasons on the WB, Charmed was the second highest ranked series after what other show? Number 2. For the first 3 seasons on the WB, Charmed was the second highest ranked series after what other show? Question number 3, during the 17th episode of the first season, what decade do the sisters go back to save themselves from a warlock? Number 3, during the 17th episode of the first season, what decade do the sisters go back to save themselves from a warlock? Question number 4. In 2003, Paige Matthew was turned into the goddess of what? Number 4. In 2003, Paige Matthew was turned into the goddess of what? Question number 5. On a season 7 episode, Lady Who showed up? Number 5. On a season 7 episode, Lady Who shows up? Question number 6, fill in the blanks. On the 5th season, the sisters must magically re-enter their blank to unmask the symbolic meaning of their blank. So you got 2 blanks to fill in. Number 6, here it is again, fill in the blanks. On the 5th season, the sisters must magically re-enter their blank to unmask the symbolic meaning of their blank. Question number 7, what was the name of the cat who was the sisters' familiar from 1998 to 2001? Number 7, what was the name of that cat from 98 to 2001? Question number 8, Barbas, B-A-R-B-A-S, is the demon of what? Number 8, Barbas is the demon of Fleet Street, Johnny Depp. Number 8, Barbas is the demon of what? Number 8. And number 9, according to IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, what character on the show got the most fan mail? Which character on this show got the most fan mail? And number 10, the first musical guest on the show was what 90s band that started with the letter D? Number 10, the first musical guest on this show was a 90s band that started with the letter D. Who was it? Number 10, number 10. All right, everybody, witches and warlocks alike, those are your questions for Charmed Trivia. We'll be right back in a second with the answers. And we are back. I just stirred up a nice brew and poured myself a drink, and I will probably turn into something because it was a nice spell for my daughter, Annabelle. Here's question number 1. What actress plays Phoebe Halliwell? The answer was Alyssa Milano, very outspoken Alyssa Milano. You can see her on Twitter, always jumping up in the feed. Number 2, for its first 3 seasons on the WB, Charmed was the second highest ranked series after what other show? Seventh Heaven. No one really talks about that show anymore after some weird news about the dad. Number 3, during the 17th episode of the first season, what decade do the sisters go back to save themselves from a warlock? That was the 1970s. Flashback episode on the first season. They go back to the 70s. Not unlike Austin Powers. Number 4, in 2003, Paige Matthew was turned into the goddess of war. Paige Matthew, goddess of war. Number 5, on a season 7 episode, Lady Who showed up? Lady Godiva. They do I feel like every episode I read of the descriptions of the episodes, it was like, the girls do a spell wrong, and then happens or shows up. And this was one of those episodes. Godiva, Lady Godiva. Number 6, fill in the blanks. On the 5th season, the sisters must magically re-enter their nightmares to unmask the symbolic meaning of their dreams. Nightmares and dreams. Number 7, what was the name of the cat who was the sisters' familiar from 1998 to 2001? I'd love to be someone's familiar. I don't really know what that means. Kit, K-I-T, like the car in Knight Rider. Kit. And I would love if that cat on this show was voiced by the same Kit from Knight Rider, which was the Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. Number 8, Barbas is the demon of fear. He is the demon of fear. Number 9, according to IMDb, what character in the show got the most fan mail? It wasn't the girls, but their mom. The character Prue got the most fan mail, according to IMDb. And that's got to be true, right? Number 10, the first musical guest on the show was what 90s band that started with a D? It was Dishwalla. Remember them? I couldn't name a song, but I know the name, Dishwalla. I feel like they play a lot of small venues around California still. And that was the answer to the last question for this episode on Charmed. Dan and your wife, if she even exists, I hope you had fun playing along with this episode. And if you love Charmed, this is the first time we've done it on the show, but maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we'll do the new remake series of Charmed, and people would get mad. Maybe we'll do that. But if you have something specific like this that you want me to get to at some point, Donate $5 or more over on patreon.com/triviawithbuds. You also get some other perks for the $5 level. So make sure you go check out all the cool stuff that I will send you in the mail or digitally or as a video, etc. if you join the different tiers of our Patreon page. Those are all getting ready to change in July. Give a big fresh look to the Patreon page and get some more excitement over there. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up this summer, guys, and I'm so glad you're on board. Thank you so much for telling a friend about this show and spreading the word. As always, it's time for the question of the day, brought to you by Funky Monkey Designs Incorporated of San Dimas, California, for all your varsity jacket printing and embroidery needs. It's never outsourced. They do it right in San Dimas, and you can check out all their work at fmdesignsinc.com. It's also linked in all the show notes. Today's very special question is about witches, because this whole episode was about witches. So if you know the answer to this one, send it to me in a tweet at RyanBuds or at RyanBuds on Instagram, or you can email me, ryanbuds@gmail.com, to win a prize. You'll be in the running if you send me the correct answer. The question of the day is, who wrote a 1983 children's novel called The Witches? Who wrote a 1983 children's novel called The Witches? Send me that answer and get some swag. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for telling a friend, and we'll see you tomorrow for more trivia with me. Cheers.